Recording is on.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been really long since we last uploaded any video or had a discussion with any of our guests. Today's today's discussion is going to be slightly different, not so much oriented towards law, but we have someone today who is going to talk about a lot of things. My friend Yash Mehta, who has kindly agreed to be a part of this webinar discussion. Yash and me went together to St. Anselm's Pink City School, Jaipur. After that, Yash graduated from the Vellore Institute of Technology, went on to work with Laurus Infosystems in Bangalore, followed by ZS in Gurgaon, and then did his master's from the Northeastern University in USA. Currently, Yash is working at the San Francisco Bay Area in another company. And today, he has kindly agreed to share a part of his journey, a lot of his important experiences with us, what has been unique about it, and what all can we learn from it. Most importantly, today Yash will also be talking about the infamous visa issues which every incoming student or every incoming professional, be it especially from India, faces while visiting the US. I won't take much time, and over to you, Yash, to if you can just throw light and let us know more about your journey.
Awesome. Thanks, Divanshu, and thanks a lot for getting me over here. So, hello, everyone. First, it's the first time I'm doing something like this, and I hope it goes well. And I hope I'm able to help someone who is looking for information about all that we are going to talk about today. And I hope, and I thank Divanshu for covering some of the details about me. As he said, I am from Jaipur. I was born and brought up in the heart city of Rajasthan, and we went to school together. Spending around first 20 years kind of my life here. I went to Vellore Institute of Technology, which is known as VIT University, and that was back in the year 2009. Yeah, and I did my engineering from there. Did BTech in electronics and electrical engineering. Post that, I did work a little bit in the city of Bangalore. I started my career more as a software engineer, and worked for this company called Laurus Infosystems, which was a lot into developing a new software, which gave me a lot of information around how does the IT industry work. And from there, I moved on. I worked there for like I think close to 1.5 years, and then thought, the world is little more getting oriented, or kind of got my attention towards data and data analytics and data sciences. So that got me into a new job. I moved to New Delhi. I moved to this company called ZS Associates. Worked there for another 2.5 years. Got a lot of information around data science and how does the entire world of analytics works. What does the world of consulting look like, and got into the services industry. Doing that, I think a lot of people, I think all over India and all over BTech graduates, they do think about, what should be my next step? How should I grow in my career? What should be the next step I should take? And people go for MS, MBAs, MTech, and I don't know, and whatnot. So I did something like that. I did something in the similar fashion. I was trying to look more for MBA kind of courses when something like MBA course or management course, which is more dedicated or very focused for an engineering or analytics professional like me. caught my eye, and that was in Boston, US. So I thought, yeah, that's a great opportunity. Why not? Let's take it. And I applied to Northeastern University in Boston. Went there, got accepted first, and went there for almost a 2-year course. Uh, did my master's in engineering management, which was a very wide course. Got me an opportunity to specialize in the field I want to, and gave me an opportunity to become an engineering manager or engineering management graduate with focus on data sciences and data analytics. And that's where I've been working right now. That's where I have been working since I graduated in the year 2018, and became a postgraduate from there. And then I moved to Michigan. Actually, I moved to Michigan in US. Worked for a brief period with this company called Ford Motor Company, and worked as a data scientist over there. Learned a few more things added to my resume, and then completely moved to a data scientist at Credence, which is the current company I'm working for in the Bay Area.
Yes, I think we lost you at Michigan. So
okay. Sorry for that. So as I said, I went for a brief period. I was in Michigan. I worked for Ford Motor Company as a data scientist. And then I moved to the Silicon Valley, moved completely from East Coast to West Coast, which was a great shift if you talk in terms of US. And moved to West Coast, moved to San Francisco Bay Area. And I'm working as a data science consultant now for this company called Credence, and have been there for almost for more than 2 years now. So yeah, that was a brief story about me, and maybe we can make it more interactive than me just keep talking around.
Great.
Why not?
So yeah, thanks a lot for that. I think we'll come to your US experience also in detail, Yash. But before that, I was more keen about knowing your experiences in all the three major cities you have been since you moved out from Jaipur. That is Vellore, Bangalore, and Gurgaon. And if you can, share some experiences, share some interesting stories or experiences to which all of us and our audience can relate, and not just from also other than from a technical point of view, but also from a layman point of view, how it all has been, what led you to move to Vellore, and then what led to Bangalore, and then what led to finally moving to Gurgaon.
Yep, surely. Great question, actually. It's been quite a shift if you see if you compare these places. I was born in Jaipur, which is more of a Hindi heartland. Did not know that there are so many languages which exist, and we kind of always hear India is a unity in diversity. But I kind of realized that only when I moved around the country so much. So I moved from Jaipur in search of a better college, and VIT was one which had a lot of recognition, and a lot of people were there to suggest me, yeah, if you have got into it, why not just take it there? It's no brainer. You should be going there. And I did that. So I honestly did not had a sense that I'm going from a Hindi speaking region to a completely Tamil speaking region. But then I realized after reaching there, this is not the regular land. This is not the regular people, or not. I mean, they were regular, but not regular in my sense. So did that when I reached there. Most of the people, especially Vellore is a very small town. It's kind of a proper Tamil speaking town. with with VIT situated right outside Vellore in the district of Katpadi, and that place was great. Like you feel that okay, while you are in Vellore, while you can ideally not talk to anyone because people are not even speaking Hindi, or a lot of people don't even speak English, so it becomes difficult to communicate. But when you come to VIT, when you come to the area where VIT is, or when you actually enter the VIT campus, the situation is pretty reversed, because that place gets students from all over the world, not just India. And then you kind of get a little more comfortable. You realize, okay, you have people who can communicate, and who can communicate in your language, or at least can communicate in English. And it's no more like just some town in this state of Tamil Nadu, but a very civilized and a very advanced state of education is kind of there, which helps you to get a little relaxed. But yeah, if you talk in terms of experiences, yeah, it was a great experience to be there. And go by train or by road, uh, and you realize that there are a lot of things apart from just language, the people, the food that they eat, or the way they try to convince things to each other, or the way they talk to each other. It's a lot different. A lot of time, if you ask me, as a person who had never been in a Tamil speaking region, when I went there, I used to feel like, are people fighting or are they talking? So it used to be.
So what is that which makes VIT as well as Vellore
Mhm.
different and unique from all other colleges or places we have in India? We have BITS in Pilani, we have MIT in Manipal, we have NIT in Trichinopalli, so
Mhm.
on and so forth. So we do have lot of famous engineering colleges or colleges imparting technical education or professional degrees in remote locations in India, especially in the southern part of India. Now, what is that which makes Vellore as well as VIT unique and different from all of these other colleges?
A lot of things. So I'm sure all the colleges that you have named here are pretty good one, and in fact has been providing the world class education to the students in India. But VIT came up in a very different way. VIT was kind of a college which was established just providing education to the locals over there. It wasn't even made with the sense that it will become a world class university one day. It was founded by a very renowned politician who was a part of, I think, one of the two major South in Tamil Nadu parties, AIDMK or DMK. So he was pretty much into education. He was trying to get education to the people of Vellore, and that's how the Vellore was kind of the VIT college was kind of established. And then it kind of grew over a period of time. It started providing education to a lot of people outside Vellore. It became an important college of Tamil Nadu, and then sooner became an important college for India. And and when you say what actually distinguishes Vellore from many of these, is that it is one of the major international universities of India. So you don't just find Indian students there, but you find students from a lot of African countries. You find students from a lot of Chinese and Japanese nation, and all those areas. So it provides you a very international experience. So I'm sure if you even go to US, or if you go to other countries, you find people from many different countries there. You get similar kind of an experience. Yeah, maybe you will find more of Indian students there, but there's a good chunk of other students, which gives you a very world class feeling, or a world class education. And I think the second most important thing, become important in terms of VIT was a lot of research based, or a lot of focus is on research and creating papers, or technical papers as we used to call them, white papers or technical papers. So there's a lot of research which is done to, in fact, every teacher or every professor has a mandate over there to come up with at least 3 to 4 white papers every year, which has got them a ranking in top between top IITs of India. So if I'm not sure right now, but I think India Today was the one who ranked them to the rank of, I think, 8 or 9, or so it was on the top 10 list of the engineering colleges, where a lot of others from the south or the NITs did not even reach.
I remember you mentioning once that there is a train line also which passes through VIT in Vellore, and that's a very interesting feature I have never heard before in happening in any college or any such premises. So any best memory or any best takeaway as far as your time in VIT is concerned?
Oh, the entire 4 years was a great journey, man. It was a lot of learning experience, because you get to not just learn what engineering or what the BTech education is, but you get to learn how to mix up with people from all over India. As of today, I can say I can actually pinpoint one person from almost every state of India and say, I know someone from here, I know someone from there. So it's been great. And if you see the location wise, Vellore is pretty much in the south region, which is very much near to a lot of places. So I have been to a lot of nearby hill stations and nearby vacation destinations with these friends of mine. And it's been great. It's been I can say, like, I know most of the South India very well, just because I was kind of situated there. In spite of not knowing any of the South Indian languages, I was able to very well survive. And survive is not a very, very positive word here. In fact, enjoy my stay over there. So it's not like people should be afraid of anything. You can basically go to any of these places.
So basically, if I can put it correctly, that VIT and Vellore opened a huge new world of opportunities and people and everything for you, and that is how you built upon that and took it forward from there. It just changed your perspective totally towards how people all across India or outside India think and look at things, whether studies or extracurricular activities. And I think basis that you took your journey forward from Vellore to Bangalore.
Definitely, yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's a combination of all of these things, as you said.
Yeah.
Very well summarized. Yep.
Okay, and then maybe you started with Loris, and how did it all happen, and tell us anything interesting, any of your stories from Loris.
So
what was
Laura,
the company about, and
yeah.
what were you doing? Yeah.
So yeah, I graduated from VIT as a electronics and electrical and electronics engineer, but did start my career with Loris Infosystems as a software developer, which is not quite a, a right job for an electrical graduate. But again, thanks to the curriculum at VIT, if you look, you do get a lot of computer science knowledge just by being in the electrical and electronics stream, because a lot of programming kind of work is required. So I was like, why not? Yeah, let's take it. I've never been like very, very curious, or I've never been very stubborn about just getting into electrical jobs. And I thought, the world of IT is exploding, so there is no doubt that it's a great field to get into. And Laurus Infosystem was one of the many companies. Again, VIT is known for its placements. It has been able to place a lot of people in really good paying jobs over a period of time. And uh, that was one of the reason I was able to get, I think, Laurus Infosystems, which was a company situated in Bangalore. It was more of a software developer company working for Laurus Labs, which is a Hyderabad-based company, and is a software is actually a pharmaceutical company, but they
Okay.
have their software wing in Bangalore.
So what was your role exactly? I mean, on a
Yeah.
day-to-day basis, what exactly were you looking at or handling or taking care of as part of your job profile at Lotus?
So I was part of their professional services division. I was kind of doing a hands-on job with building software modules. So when you take a software, there are multiple modules within it. You have to build it. You have to do both for front-end and back-end codings. So that's exactly where I started. I did a lot of Java and SQL coding. Did a lot of HTML and JavaScripts for the front end as well as back end.
If you can give some example as to what you did on a day-to-day basis, how does it impact someone's daily life at a macro level? If some any small example.
So in macro level, I did a lot of coding work, which was kind of understanding how a software looks like, how will a end user look at a software, and how does you relate to that? How does making a small differences, or how about just moving a button from this end of the screen to that end of screen, would change the entire perspective of how a final non-technical user will interact with it. Makes you learn a lot about how things work and how businesses work. So I think that was a side learning, along with, of course, a lot of technical stuff that goes in there.
And then this is what you did at Loris, and what led to the shift from Bangalore to Gurgaon, that is from Loris to ZS.
So as I said earlier, when I was in Laurus, I was working with a lot of softwares, a lot of codes, and that was the time I realized, a lot of data science, or the world of data analytics, is kind of coming up, and it's just exploding, and kind of got a lot of my attention, because one, maybe I was not always into a lot of coding, but two, also because I was in the in the frenzy of getting into some more cooler jobs, and it was like, data is the new oil, why not, let's get it, let's try to get something which is more attractive, which is more maybe even good paying, and all those things.
So is it that Delhi or the NCR region is a better center for data analytics job as against the southern part of India?
Not it's not like that, and currently not at all. It wasn't like that even then, and it's not like that right now also. uh, in fact, you'll find data jobs, they'll find a lot of data jobs in Bangalore, you'll find them in Pune, you'll find them in Hyderabad, you'll find them in Gurgaon or the NCR region. It was just because the company I was targeting was ZS Associates, and that was in Gurgaon. And why I was doing that is because uh, I had a few friends there who gave me like a really good feedback about the company and
About ZS, yeah.
about that. So
No,
I was
no, no. So then, in that case, how exactly did your work at the new company, which is ZS, which was more into data analytics? How did the day-to-day profile differ from what you were doing at Lawrence?
Oh, it was completely different now. So the day I entered ZS Associates, it was a complete shift from what I was doing at Loris. It was more about knowing your clients, knowing the business of your client, trying to see, okay, this is the data set I'm going to get from them. This is the kind of reports we have to process at the end of the day. How can we make it better? How can we optimize the processes? How can we make sure we can reduce the effort that is going on day-to-day processing of data, and try to code accordingly, and not just build a software which is going to be used by someone. So it was something you are building for yourself, trying to optimize the system, trying to be more efficient in your daily work, and then try to see how you can get more business from the client. So it was a shift from maybe more of a product company role to becoming a consultant, or or a data science consultant, or a business consultant, where you not just worry about the product or the codes, or what is going on, but now you are looking from end to end and seeing, okay, whatever action I take, it might even impact the entire business. So yeah.
I'll ask you the same question which I asked you for Loris, that what was that on a day-to-day basis which you were doing at ZS, which would have I mean, how would a common man look at its impact at a macro level? What you did in a cabin or on your desktop, what work which you did would eventually have impact on the stakeholders at a broader level.
Right. So, and ZS, I was working for a lot of pharmaceutical clients. The work was, of course, to take their data, churn it, process it, clean it, make it better, and then come up with the reports which would affect their marketing, which would affect their workforce. It would affect how a new product would be launched, a new drug might be launched. How do you set up a pricing for that? What kind of market do you go forward to and launch it? So there have been multiple projects which I have been part of, and yeah, in every way it kind of affects your understanding of the business of your client, and try to make you more of a pharma world champion. But yeah, so that's what my day used to look like. Every time we used to be working on a project, how we used to be running around, this data is not there, this part of data is not there, we have to get this and that. And once everything is put together, how does everything look like? Does it make sense? Does the numbers that are churning out make sense? And are they even correct? We used to do a lot of quality checks over there, and then try to throw it back to the client and say, this is what it looks like.
So any unique or any unusual experience or situation which you guys found yourself caught up in, or you dealt with, anything, any interesting experience from ZS which you would like to tell to our viewers?
So I think being in ZS, a lot of work was there that I did for clients, right? And that was the time you realize that you have to think from client's perspective. You cannot just think from your perspective. And of course, so if your question is more in terms of work, then then I had worked on some of most challenging projects. So with big multinationals were kind of merging together, and I cannot name them right now, but when such big companies merge together, their workforces merge, and then you have to come up with very common plans where you are now not serving just one client, but you're serving two of them together, and trying to make sure you come up with plan that is or come up with the data, or come up with the output which will be liked by both of them. And at the same time, there is a lot of internal politics that goes on when such mergers happen. So of course it makes you learn a lot of those things. So that was the work side. Was that question more on the work side, or was it more on
It's both, from a work experience point of view, as well as from a learning point of view. I mean, what were your takeaways from ZS? Some experience, or any particular experience or instance which you still relish or look back, any memory which you still look back very fondly? So,
I partied a lot there. That's what I look back to. I think ZS as a company was a lot of party-loving people, and I think we used to celebrate the smallest to the biggest things. I think the biggest party I uh, ever attended with, I think, more than 1,000, 2,000 people just trying to jump on the dance floor was at ZS offices in New Delhi, uh, and yeah, so I have seen ZS grow. That's what I can say. I've seen the people. I think when I entered ZS in Delhi office, we used to have around 300, 400 people, which by the time I left ZS had grown up to 2,000. And I know we moved from a smaller space to a bigger space. I met so many new people at the end of my tenure at ZS, and of course learned a lot from each of them.
right.
There was a lot of business knowledge
Right.
along with a lot of fun which was there.
So, Yash, halfway through this talk, through this discussion, now this brings to me to my most important question, and the reason why which we are doing this session is that what is that at this level? I mean, after 3, 4, 5 years of work experience, not just on the engineering side, but otherwise, that leads to one thinking to move out of the country, whether it's to the US or to the UK or anywhere else. How does the entire thinking process starts? What is the trigger point, or what is the uh, initiation or the instigation point? Because I remember studying this term in school, which we used to call as brain drain. Anyone who moved to the US or otherwise anyone outside India, that is how Indians term it. That this is what brain drain is happening. Leaving brain drain aside, but how does one get into the zone of thinking of the idea to moving out of the country, whether it's for further studies, further education, or further job experience, and finally implementing it?
Yeah. So I wouldn't try to cover points on regular brain drain things. Of course, there are a lot of things that can be covered there. I would like to talk about my own experience here and
Certainly,
why
yeah.
I did it. And as I said, I was in ZS. I was working for a lot of clients who were in US, right? So of course, I used to interact with them, used to have late night calls or whatever. So that gives you a trigger point or the thinking, how the businesses goes over there, how the jobs look over there, how does the world look over there. So that's that. In fact, when I graduated from VIT, I never had a regular aim of going for an MS. So a lot of people in VIT or in the final year of graduations usually have that. I never had that. I was, in fact, as I said earlier, I was later on looking more for an MBA kind of thing. But talking to these people, talking to my clients, talking to their regular work did make me feel, it feels more interesting about, it would be good to be on the other side of the world and see how the thing goes over there. Plus then you interact with a lot of people, a lot of maybe just for a small period of time for a business trips, and you'd realize, okay, there are some things which is important, which can be learned once you go there, maybe can help you grow your career or multiply your career more than what you are maybe at present. And in my case, I formally never had like a data science education, right? It was I did my engineering in electrical and electronics, did a lot of work experience, a lot of work in data science and analysis and trying to come up with algorithms and all those things. So I thought maybe it's a good time to convert it into a degree and maybe become more of a professional into it. And that's where I looked for a management course which was more focused on data science and analytics. And at that point of time, I don't think a lot of programs were there in India which was kind of offering that. I know a few was there, a couple of were there in ISB or I think I am Ahmedabad, But if you don't get into the top colleges of these sources, you then try to look outside India and try to see, what are the best places. And given that you already have made some contacts, so being in ZS, I did made a lot of network with people who were already in US. Either they were client or they were the people from my company over there. So I did know a good number of people there. I thought, let me explore colleges there, and when I did that, I found a lot of such colleges where I could find the course I was looking for, a management course, but also focused on data science and engineering.
So basically, there are both upsides and downsides. I mean, there are both motivations as well as anxieties and fears of moving from one setup to another, and this involved a change of a country itself from where you were born and brought up to an altogether new culture and setup. Now, I just want to know more about what were those motivations, what were those upsides, which could outweigh those downsides and those anxieties and fears of yours, which I'm sure, just like everyone else, you must have also had, and you could finally move out.
Yeah. No, definitely there are a lot of downsides, but since you've asked for the upside. So see, the first upside is, of course, we all have been brought up with the notion of living US dreams, or living an American dream, as they call it back in US. So that is always there. That, I think, is there for anyone who want to move out, or anyone who is looking for. So you do have that. You do know that, yes, maybe you will be able to have a better quality life, or all those things. But I think that the final trigger for anyone who wants to move out and is finally, you have to make up your mind. Do you think you are doing good enough with your career here and here in India? And if you are doing good enough, you maybe don't even want to move across, because of course there's a lot of downside. You miss on your family, you miss on a lot of things that is not there. And I'm not saying that I was not doing good on my career, but what I'm trying to say is, maybe at a point you realize, I want to get into a college, I want to attain this degree, but at the same time, I also want to get into the top class university. I also want to get into, maybe just have an experience which maybe your country cannot provide you right away. So that was the final trigger point. I never made up my mind that, and I have not made it even today, that if I'll be staying in US forever. But it was more like, there's no point, there's no harm in going there, getting a master's degree from an international university which is highly renowned, and then maybe working there for some time to maybe just build up your resume and come up with something really strong. And believe me, there are a lot of things that you cannot learn just by being in your country. You do learn it both in your personal as well as professional experiences.
So fast forwarding from here. So the bags are packed, the flight tickets are booked, visa has come, and you have landed up over there in US. I think you told me you landed up at Massachusetts, which is where Northeastern University is. Can you hear me properly?
Yeah, I think I missed you for
I was saying that fast forwarding from here. So all the packing is done, and all the preparation is done. The visa is in place, and now you finally landed up over there to begin your masters at the Northeastern University. Now, give us some insight or some idea of the grassroots reality, the ground level reality. That when, as an Indian without any connection or anything over there, when you reach, how is the overall experience like? What are the issues which we only hear of, or which we do not even hear of, which don't even get reported? What are the kind of things and issues which people face? Things which one should keep in mind, and what were your takeaways now that you have spent almost 4 to 5 years, 2 years of studies and 3 years of working over there? So give us some insight which a person generally sitting over here would not be aware of.
Got it. Great. So it's a very, very wide question, firstly. If I start talking, I think it will take another 1 hour.
Yeah, maybe we
But
can limit it to we can limit it to things like student visa and what are the restrictions in relation to that.
right,
What is the notion or the perception with which people who have moved in from such background they are looked at, and what are the kind of common problems or issues one faces while beginning his time or his life in at such places?
definitely. So I moved to Boston. I was very, very new to the city. In fact, I've never been outside India before that. So Boston was the first place I've been outside India. And when you go to any of these places, you are, of course, nervous. You have a lot of things going on in your mind. Firstly, once how will you travel there? What are the problems you may face while traveling? Do you have all your paperwork in place? Do you have everything organized, and are you good to travel? Once you land there, you don't know people, so where are you going to stay? What is the first place you are going to go from the airport? Once you land, how are you going to go from airport to wherever you want to go? And then how are you going to explore all of these things? So those are all the anxieties and that goes on in one's mind. And I think a lot of these things have been or are usually solved by anyone. And I'm talking more in terms of US, because that has been like one of the top most favorite destination for students. So a lot of people usually try to connect with others who are going to the same college or same university. And I'm sure most of the students can find someone, because there's a huge amount or huge number of Indian students going to US universities. So I did the same. I did connect with a few completely new faces before going to Boston. Tried to connect with them, try to know if they are going to the same college, are they going to stay in the same, how are they going to stay, and what are they going to what study over there, and all those things. So you do that. You try to do a lot of Facebook groups, WhatsApp groups, and whatnot. You try to connect with all of those things and make up your mind. So I did some of those things. I figure out through some connections some of the seniors who said, I have a room empty, just because maybe someone is not there or is out for a few days.
Can you throw some light upon, I mean, if at all there was any discrimination or any kind of second grade treatment which one faces, or a pseudo discrimination or pseudo second grade treatment which one faces while being in such a setup?
You may face one. Luckily, I did not, at least till I landed in Boston. But yeah, there are situations where people have complained about facing a discrimination, maybe after landing there, maybe after reaching there, or maybe even talking to people. But it depends a lot on the cities that you are going to, and it also depends sometimes. If you're not lucky enough, then maybe you might just face some kind of a discrimination at some places. There's and it's not always a discrimination, but it's always the uh, the security protocols or the immigration, which is usually done at any US entry point, is pretty high.
So Yash, very frankly, what is this notion, as we all here in India? I mean, since you have had the best of both worlds, what is this notion of there being some sort of reservation towards foreign nationals or Indians working and coming and working there in the US? And we heard initially you were on student visa. Now I understand you are on employee visa.
Yep.
So, what are those issues? What are their ground level reality? I mean, which being inside America, you must have heard of or felt what's persisting over there. If you can throw some light on these H1 visa issues. Sometimes we hear that Indians will no more be allowed to transfer or to move into US, be it for work or for studies. What exactly is the ground level situation?
Okay, great question. So, see, the problem is country like America or countries like many other countries like Canada, Australia, all these are immigrant countries, right? All these have been formed by immigrants. And there was a point of time when there was huge requirement of workforce in US. And honestly, even today, there is a good requirement, but at the same point of time, what happens over period of time is people who have been there for years and who maybe who their grandfathers were immigrants, but they are more of a they do feel that they are the true Americans, or they may be called as an American. And when, let's say, you going from India and getting a job over there, and earning a good life over there, trying to compete with many of those people who have been there for much longer enough than you have been there, it do kind of generate a competitive mindset, and kind of uh, uh, a hatred, or that's what kind of generates discrimination among the people who think that you are kind of taking up the jobs which maybe they deserve, right? But at the same time, this program of H1B was brought up there because there was a huge crisis for the technical workforce in US, right? So, and that's why this program is still there. That's why this H1B or the employment program is still there, because that crisis or that requirement of technical workforce, maybe in field of science, mathematics, statistics, or even medical and all, is still there. So you see a lot of doctors, engineers, and all those professionals moving over there. And that's why, in spite of all the stories and hatred and all those things that you might have come across, you will mostly see a welcoming nature in US for anyone who is traveling there for a work. Now, no country is perfect, no place is perfect. So I'm sure uh, you might land up in some situations where you might face a little discrimination. There might be people who have a different mindset, who might does not like your skin color, or might not like your height, weight, or whatever. So but at the same time, when you work there, you realize how important you are for the workforce. And so all the steps which are usually taken around H1Bs, and trying to tighten this rules, or trying to make it a little more difficult to enter US on a work visa, is just to make sure that two things: one, the visa is not being abused by someone just because maybe it's cheaper to get a person working on H1B, compared to if you want to maybe employ an American completely on it, who might look for a higher salaries. And at the same time, also make sure that, you know, H1B remains true to its actual reason why it came into being, right? So it should not end up taking up jobs which maybe can be done by American over there. So for the same reason, they kind of from time to time keep tweaking the laws here and there,
Policies.
keep screwing it, keep not screwing it, but keep tightening it, and making it better. So that so that they can kind of make sure the policy is in place for actual for the jobs where the actual crisis of workforce is.
Right. So it's both based on logic as well as law. And maybe what we hear in the media or in the newspapers, whether in the US or in India, that's only just negative reporting which is happening. But no one over here is giving us out the overall picture, the correct picture, and which is what we are trying to know and derive from this discussion. So, if I may also ask you, what is the local body or the local government at the micro level, both at the city level, at the state level, as well as the country level? Are they doing something to normalize this, not just the situation, but also the notion which has developed around this H1B visa within the country as well as outside?
Yep. So see, they have been changing laws around H1Bs and trying to make it a little more difficult for people to enter on employment visas, so that the opportunities do go to the US citizens or the people who are already there. And there's a lot of efforts which are being made. So ideally, US, given the amount of popularity that it has in international market and amount of people who want to anyway enter US and try to make it as their home, I don't think they need to do a lot to woo people outside US, but they do need to do a lot to make sure there's no unemployment created because of people coming from outside US. So they do at state level or at federal level, they do a lot of work to make sure the people who are in US or who are US citizens, they get a lot of knowledge, education. They become skilled enough to get employed in all the technical jobs. And ideally, yes, that's what a country should aim for, so that at the point of time they don't have to get any more migrant workers. But that's a long way to go, and so it's not like they are trying to woo you anymore, so they should come up with anything more. In fact, it's the other way around. They are trying to make it difficult for anyone outside of US to come, just because they want people outside of US to come and work in a specific jobs and not all of them. So it's not like, so it's nothing like something has been made to change that image. And if that negative reporting even goes out in other countries like India, I think they are fine with it. They are like, okay, we don't really care about that because of the popularity that they already hold.
One question which is coming to my mind, considering your journey and experience, and maybe a slightly difficult one, that how, as a professional, do you overcome the conflict or dilemma, if at all, whenever it strikes you, if at all it strikes you, that being an Indian, being born and brought up over there, but now after 25, 30 years working over there. So does this dilemma ever strike you, or how do you overcome it, that on a day-to-day basis you're contributing to the overall economy and growth of another country, as against where you were actually born, or where you actually belong to?
Definitely, I think a lot of people from India will be having that in their mind. And so honestly, it's not like when you are there you are only contributing to the economy. There you do contribute to the economy in your country because you do send a lot of money here, right? People do end up working there, but they are contributing to Indian economy by maybe investing.
Yeah, I mean, this notion may be absolutely incorrect in the first place. I am happy to stand corrected.
So that's what I'm trying to say. So you do end up working for that country a lot, and you do a lot of investments, and a lot of money is being sent from US to India for multiple purposes, maybe that to support the family or just for investments. So people, I think, have anyone who goes to US, they a huge chunk of those people do have it in their mind that at some point in their life they want to return back to India. They just want to maybe earn some fortune over there and get it here, and then start maybe having a kickstart, or a run, a start ahead, maybe
from others.
from
Yeah.
others. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's mostly the aim of a lot of people who goes there. So ideally, I don't really take that as a dilemma, because at a point of time you do end up contributing to both the economies. And those even who don't want to come back, even they try to help the country in multiple ways. And then it is again a very personal thing, right? There might be a few who might not even want to come back, or might not even feel like contributing anything back. But I think a lot of them do appreciate being here, and being part of India. They do contribute to their colleges, they do contribute to their uh, parents here, to their families here. So a lot of that goes in. And yeah, so
I get it.
I'm
Yeah.
not really maybe that's not always the answer for dilemma will always be there, that you are
Understandable.
not here. But I think it is overpowered more by, maybe, yeah, I'm earning better and I can contribute to both.
Right. So on a concluding note, Yash, I mean, some things, few takeaways or things which you think overall in your professional journey of last 10 years, and more importantly, last 5 years, which you think you could have done differently, or you should have done differently, so that the younger generation can benefit from it, and keep those things in mind, in of whatever nature. I mean, whether it was any particular decision, or any move, or pursuing any course, or anything, any life lesson which you would like to share with us on a parting note.
See, everyone is different, everyone has their own experiences. My only life lesson, and which I take it from from being here in India and then being in US, is to start exploring as soon as possible in your life that what all you want to do. And maybe once you find it, of course it's difficult to it's difficult done said. So it is easy to say than done. But you, at a point of time, you will realize that I'm trying to become like this, or I'm trying to be good at it. So just keep following that. You will end up somewhere or the other. And if you don't end up somewhere, there is always time and always a chance to change the stream and go to a different path. So as I said, right, in my life I have been in multiple domain. I was an electrical engineer, went to software engineering, went to data science analytics, went to, never thought will go to US, but then did it. So I have been changing a lot of things myself. But uh, but it was always focused on, because I entered data, when I entered the world of data science and analytics, I started liking it, and I thought, let's make this as a journey. So keep looking out, keep yourself open to ideas.
Have an open mind. Yeah.
Yeah, and keep exploring. And it's not like, if you don't find something where you are going to be good, you are in a trouble. You will become great, one way or the other. Even having a wide experience is good. So it's so don't worry, just keep doing what may be a enjoyable experience for you.
Take
So
things one day at a time is what
yeah.
you're trying to say. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's really great, and it's been a very I would say inspiring as well as a motivational journey, because once you step out of the house, opportunities are enormous, opportunities are huge, and you make your own path. You have to decide where you want to be it a city, be it a college, or be it an organization. And I think over the last 10 years or so, you're very, I mean, beautifully and very wonderfully crafted your own journey. And I'm sure a lot of your colleagues and a lot of your juniors in college as well as in the previous organizations look up to you. And I think it's been a great session to have you over here and know in detail about all of your professional experiences. And maybe someday we'll have another session on a more specific topic, picking something from these aspects only. So thank you so much once again for sparing time on a Saturday evening for this. And thanks a lot for your time.
Surely, thanks a lot, Divanshu. Thanks for having me over, and it was a great experience for me too. So, thank you.
Thanks, Yash.